2 News begins now.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus. I'm Tim Pham. This is your KREM 2 News Week in Review. Join us as we take a closer look at some of the biggest stories in the inland Northwest this past week.
Officials say this is actually a demonstration project called the Testbed Initiative, which includes moving pre-treated waste in liquid form from Hanford to approved disposal facilities in both Texas and Utah. Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown sent a letter Wednesday to state and federal leaders detailing her concerns about the 2,000-gallon shipment, saying if the trip is successful, there could potentially be more trips in the future. Spokane Director of Communications and Marketing Aaron Hutt explains why this is concerning for the future of the city.
Our concern is that it's extremely dangerous. There's high risk involved. We're right on an aquifer. Our river runs right through the center of town and it poses a pretty significant risk to our city.
Also in the letter, Mayor Brown says this new route through Spokane is only on the table after partners in the state of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation raised community concerns.
We emphasize safety.
Hanford site spokesman for the U.S. Department of Energy, Ed Dawson, says that this exact process happened back in 2017. However, the amount that was shipped was 3 gallons versus the now 2,000 that they want to move.
I think the bottom line is that we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence. We want to make sure that we are doing things in a safe and compliant manner all throughout that process.
The city of Spokane, the state of Oregon, and the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation tell us they would feel safer if the toxic waste was turned into a solid in the Tri-Cities and then shipped to wherever it needed to go, versus keeping it a liquid during travel. However, Dawson says that the Department of Energy is working on figuring out different ways to get this toxic waste out of Hanford to give as many different options as possible in the future, as instructed by the U.S. Government Accountability Office. Dawson says the waste is expected to be treated by the end of this year and transported sometime next year via trucks in government-regulated totes. All of the Pacific Northwest leaders speaking up about this demonstration project are saying the same thing. They are fully supportive of getting the toxic waste out of Hanford. However, they don't support it coming through their respective communities in liquid form. Dawson tells me that a planned route for this 2,000-gallon project has not been finalized just yet. Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Well, that is exactly the word that keeps coming up with this one, rare. In fact, a case of plague has only been seen in deer 5 times ever before this most recent one. Washington State University pathologists made the confirmation this week. Idaho's first case of plague found in a deer in central Idaho's Custer County.
This is kind of one of those rare cases that sometimes these things just happen. And it's just, I think it was also noted in the press release, very rare that they even found this animal.
Idaho Fish and Game says the infected animal was discovered on private property in June. Once the positive tests came back, everyone who had contact was tested. Roger Phillips says those tests, including for the landowner's dog, came back negative.
And we also saw no evidence of any other animals in the area that may have contracted plague.
The plague itself isn't exactly rare in the western U.S.
It's kind of somewhere on the fence between common and uncommon, because every couple of years in southern Idaho, we have plague outbreaks, usually in ground squirrel populations. Pick a number, 1.5 to 2 years, it pops back up again. But we actually have had people contract the plague. It is treatable, but that's extremely rare too.
In deer, the disease causes lesions that lead to blindness, which is why it's unusual a person would even find an infected deer. They're likely to become prey pretty quickly.
This is something that Mother Nature kind of cleans up on its own.
That's why WSU's Veterinary College says it could be hard to figure out just how widespread the plague may be in deer populations. But Phillips says it is unlikely this will have much impact on larger populations or even on your hunting season.
If there was more, we would probably have found out about it by now. This has been months gone by. Kind of our standard answer to that is, for hunters, is if you see an animal that's obviously sick, don't shoot it, just report it.
Now, Phillips says reports from people who spot sick deer or elk do actually help. Along with the state's surveillance sampling for chronic wasting disease, it can tip them off to larger issues much more quickly. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
I've been talking all day with those who knew the two people who tragically died after a tanker exploded at the Cardiff gas station. I was able to confirm that both 53-year-old Brandon Cook and 62-year-old Wesley Lineberry died last Wednesday. The Clearwater County coroner confirmed with me that both men died from blunt force trauma from the explosion. We don't have a lot of information at this time as to why they were inside of the gas station at the time of the explosion, but what we do know is that Cook was from Orofino, Idaho, and that Lineberry was from Pierce, Idaho. Now, we also know the names of the two Atkinson distributing employees that were life-flighted to Seattle, Donnie Billiter and Roxanne Hubbs. A spokesperson from the University of Washington Medicine says that Hubbs is still in critical condition and Billiter is satisfactory, which means that he's in acute care, which is non-ICU. GoFundMes have been set up for both of the surviving victims at this time. Now here's a recap of what happened since the gas station exploded last week. We know that a call came in on Wednesday, September 11th, that the Atkinson Distributing Station in Cardiff exploded just after 3 p.m. A manager from Atkinson Distributing says that the station was only used during logging season. The day after the explosion, the Idaho State Fire Marshal confirmed that the bodies of 2 people were found under the rubble of the gas station. Agents from multiple agencies like OSHA and the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives traveled to Cardiff to investigate. The Idaho State Fire Marshal says that the cause of the explosion is still under investigation and that it could take several weeks to figure out what happened. The Idaho State Fire Marshal and the Clearwater County Sheriff's Office tell me that any other updates will come after the investigation has ended. Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Well, guys, this is all that's left of a tree outside Zany's Smoke Shop. Court records and security video actually show a guy chopping into it several times with 2 samurai swords. But it's actually what happened next that led to his arrest and assault charges. It's in the name. Zany's Smoke Shop is known for off-the-wall offerings. But what came to Robert Saleb's door Monday?
He's chasing me with the knife.
Was something else entirely.
Scaring my customers, so I have customers calling me, telling me they won't shop here because somebody's outside with 2 swords or a sword in their hand.
A neighbor and longtime customer of the shop captured on security video chopping down a tree with 2 samurai swords. Saleb says he confronted the man about it, and that's when things took a dangerous turn.
So he saw me peeking through the gate. That's when he said, "I'm going to kill you." He came through the gate. I backed up. I said, "Calm down, just calm down." He took his sword, swung it, but I was still about 5 feet away from him.
That's when Saleb turned and ran inside, not realizing his potential attacker was right behind him.
And here I come, running back up here, and here he is chasing me with the knives.
That man's now charged with second-degree assault and resisting arrest.
And now he leaves, shows me that he's going to come back.
This is regarding incident at the Zany's.
KREM 2 News is not identifying him, as he's being held until he can have a mental health evaluation. Saleb says he hesitated to even call police because he knows this was a mental health crisis.
When somebody threatens your life and you come, I didn't even realize how close I came to losing my life with him being right behind me like that.
Saleb says this highlights Spokane's need for some sort of behavioral health intervention or facility to deal with substance abuse, crises, and other issues that sometimes end up on businesses' doorsteps.
There's a lot of low-income people out there that need mental help, but they can't go to a professional down the street, or we can't help but feel sorry for him. Everybody here knows who he is, but he needs help.
Now, that discussion about the need for mental and behavioral health resources is not a new one. In fact, Mayor Lisa Brown hinted at some sort of partnership to create a behavioral crisis center last month, and we reached out to the city to see where those plans are today. We didn't hear anything back. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Last winter, Spokane City Council designated this stretch of 29th Avenue from Martin to Fisk Street as a pedestrian street. It's meant to make the area more pedestrian-friendly.
Wait.
And it prevents the development of new drive-through restaurants. So what does that mean for the vacant lot that Chick-fil-A has been eyeing as a future new location?
29. Walk sign is on the cross.
Well, developers of the property at 29th and Regal Street started taking steps to protect its planned use for the site. They worried the new regulations would prevent plans for the potential Chick-fil-A from going forward. In fact, court records in the civil case against the city of Spokane claims the pedestrian street designation was adopted in reaction to the proposed Chick-fil-A location. In the complaint, attorneys representing the owner of the property are seeking a ruling that the building application is not subject to the new zoning restrictions, even asking for an order declaring the ordinance establishing the pedestrian street as unlawful. But the city says this litigation wasn't necessary. In a statement, the city says the developer could have continued with their permit application under the argument they were vested. In other words, developers were grandfathered in under the previous regulations. Right now, the city and developers are in ongoing conversations about the property. Meanwhile, developers are exploring new uses for the site, which may come to light by December. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
City Council already okayed more than $719,000 of American Rescue Plan funding to clean up and beautify downtown back in June. Now, even more of that money is going to expand on the mission to hit even more of the city's core. Monday through Sunday, several hours a day. Downtown Spokane Partnership's Clean Team is hitting the streets.
Yeah, we usually walk anywhere from 10 to 13 miles. Usually a day.
Spokane is set to give another installation of American Rescue Plan dollars, almost $470,000 to DSP. The vast majority will go toward these cleaning crews for the next 6 months.
We're going to start with 7 days a week. We'll assess on a weekly basis the needs of the area to be able to stretch the dollars as far as we can.
To stretch them even further south. The crews put in miles in DSP's Business Improvement District and will add in the new cleanup area here in yellow between Walnut and Bernard and south to 3rd Avenue.
To enhance and beautify the area that is south of the railroad tracks.
DSP President and CEO Emily Cameron says it's a small but concrete part of bringing business back downtown.
The foundation element is making sure that we have a clean and safe downtown so that people can enjoy that full experience.
$166,000 of the new allotment will also be used to implement the city's 2019 Innovation Alleyway Plan to turn these pass-throughs into go-tos.
The art and lights and other things that create that experience are what people put on their social media feeds, and it's what helps them to enjoy downtown.
Cameron says that extra lighting and getting people into alleys or activating them can increase safety. All this has to be done by the end of 2026, the deadline for when this ARPA allocation has to be spent.
Our goal is to get those dollars put to work in 2025, and you'll see great things.
The city is also tasking DSP to conduct a downtown housing study. Specifically, Spokane wants policy changes or strategies they can work with private developers on to increase the variety and supply of housing in the city's core. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
On Tuesday, the Spokane County Board of Commissioners approved this sale of over 80 acres of airport land on the West Plains that could potentially bring over 300 new jobs to the area.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
After a briefing between the Spokane Airport Board and the Spokane County Commissioners, the Airport Board proposed the idea of selling close to 82 acres in the southeast corner of the McFarland and Craig Roads intersection near the airport to Runway Property Holding for just under $6 million.
This company actually is an international company.
Spokane County Commissioner Al French says the ripple effect that this company will have in the area economically will be felt for years to come.
And the other thing is that other companies will see that this company made an investment in Spokane, maybe they need to take another look at Spokane too.
Commissioner French didn't say what company was behind Runway Property Holding, but according to the Washington Secretary of State filing program, the principal address for Runway Property Holding is the same address associated with the headquarters of Suprema, which has a line of different services like commercial roofing, waterproofing, wall protection, and civil engineering. Suprema has over 50 plants across the world and has a presence in over 90 countries.
The area is already designed for industrial use and stuff, and so we've been making investments into the area to address traffic.
Commissioner French says that if there are no hiccups, the company should start construction this year or the beginning of next year. Spokane International Airport CEO Larry Crowder says that the money that would potentially come from this deal would be considered unrestricted cash, which means that the airport can use it for non-grant improvement projects. He says the reason this company chose Spokane to begin with was because it was looking for a space to both manufacture and distribute from inside the Pacific Northwest.
Now, this plan isn't set in stone just yet. The Spokane City Council still has to approve of it in the next couple of weeks. Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
They're great sandwiches. They're the best.
I love the family business. You know, these guys are an institution.
They're the best.
Hi, my name's Tom Dominy. I've been at Dominy's working here with my dad, my brother, and my cousin for 50 years, and it's been one hell of a ride. The dream is going away now. It's time to get some more fun time in instead of working.
How long have you been thinking about this?
Oh, about the last year and a half. So my legs are getting tired. You know, you get been on your feet for 50 years. It takes a toll. But it's been a great ride, and I've loved every minute.
I love working here. My name's Nakia Tilton. I've been an employee of Tom's since 2013. My friend Rochelle worked here, and I came down and met Tom, and it changed my life. It changed the direction that I've gone in my life, and it's just been one of the best jobs I think I've ever had.
People don't want it to leave. We've been in this corner for 60 years. People still love our food, still love our popcorn, love our service, and we love them just as much.
He remembers everybody.
I probably know about 200 sandwiches when they walk in, what kind of sandwich they're going to have.
Small pastrami with provolone on French bread.
For 34 years, he's known my order. A ham, provolone, French, mayo, and extra sweet hot.
There's something about the combination of the way they cook their meat and the bread that they use that just makes it perfect.
My employees, Nakia, Coeen, Rochelle, and Lisa have been, my heart and soul here. Time out. Thank you, Spokane. Thank you, Inland Empire, for supporting us, our family for, 61 years. Hard to believe it's been that long, and still as popular as ever. The last day will be December 6th. Hope people show up. Wish me goodbye.
Driver's education in Washington State is also very limited in that it's not affordable for a lot of families.
That won't be an issue for low-income Spanish-speaking families here in Spokane come October. Every month since 2022, Latinos in Spokane has been working with certified driving instructors across the state to teach a one-day driving education course in Spanish. This includes everything from learning the basics of how to drive in Washington to actually getting behind the wheel.
We offer all of our services, whether it's immigration services or now our driver's education services, free to anyone who earns $60,000 or less.
However, Jennifer Mesa, the executive director for Latinos in Spokane, says that paying for and sending a group of 15 people every month to these classes is very expensive.
It is super important for all of us to have access, whether you are an English speaker, Spanish speaker. We want to reduce those barriers.
Helping is one of the things that I really love to do.
That's why recently a team member within the organization, Andres Sanchez, got his certification at Western Oregon University to be able to teach driver's ed here in Spokane.
This is a really great gap that we have here, and we have to fill, that gap providing driving education classes in Spanish.
I had the chance to speak with Miguel Lasso, a refugee from Ecuador, who actually took a driver's ed class through Latinos in Spokane when he first came 2 years ago. Lasso only speaks Spanish, so we talked with him with the help of Andres Sanchez.
Una de las necesidades que vimos inicialmente.
It was impossible for them to find someone who speaks Spanish or provide classes in Spanish, and he felt frustrated because they don't have access to that type of opportunity, and that's when they realized that we have provide that type of service here.
While the driver's ed classes will be specifically geared towards those who only speak Spanish, the goal is to have more classes available in English as well for everyone in the community in the future. Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
The Davenport Hotel in Spokane stayed at its location on South Post Street downtown for more than a century. The first hotel in the country to have air conditioning, its founder, Louis Davenport, wanted to give guests a unique sense of comfort compared to other hotels. Something staff say is on their mind as they work to bring the hotel into the future.
Really combining that historical and modern flares.
Vice President and Area Managing Director Melissa Greens worked at the Davenport since work began for the new lobby bar just a few months ago. Guests have been able to enjoy the drink menu at the Peacock Lounge inside the lobby for decades. They're still able to do so as the lobby bar has its own menu specific to the hotel's roots.
This will be truly classic cocktails from the 1914s, 1920s. So, great French 75, classic Manhattans.
The hotel's history through mixology being present, Green is excited for another edition known as the Emporium, a gift shop that's designed to showcase not only the hotel's merchandise, but something else iconic to the building, the Davenport's soft peanut brittle, with candy makers on site making it fresh.
They'll be able to see it, but they'll be able to smell it and then be able to purchase it right there.
The designs are inspired by black and white photos tucked away in the archive rooms of the Davenport. Staff say some Spokane residents were understandably concerned hearing about the new additions to the hotel. But Green says while the history and what makes the Davenport great are not ever to be altered, how guests can learn about the building's past can.
I think it's our job to be able to not just bring this hotel and what this is into the future, but it's also to kind of continue the heritage of what this hotel and what Louis Davenport's vision was.
In Spokane, Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
And all of my fall dreams are becoming a reality thanks to Todd Beck. And you guys do it right out here. You got things looking good. And then of course, look at this beautiful backdrop we've got right here behind us. What's out there? What can people expect back there?
The big thing you're seeing out there is my 5-acre giant corn maze.
Okay.
I actually have 2 mazes cut into it. There's a smaller maze for like the little kids, and then 5 acres worth of maze for the whole family to really enjoy. That's all part of Friendly Family Farm Funland.
Yeah.
In there we have the corn maze, the straw maze, Tire Mountain, which is basically a big stack of tires with slides.
I see the big Tire Mountain, yeah.
We have some slides, we have the rat wheels, we have corn cannons, we have a family wagon ride, we have cow train rides, we have jump pillow, all kinds of fun stuff in there for the whole family to enjoy.
Yeah.
You also see right there, we have our party house. You can rent that out for birthday parties and that type of thing. It's a great place to spend a birthday party up here at Green Bluff.
Well, yeah, it's beautiful.
And this morning with the sun rising over the cornfield, it's about as pretty as fall can be.
For sure. And then, did you mention there's a corn?
The
corn cannon. Okay.
Well, yeah. We have the air compressor. You take an air cord in there. We have targets set up. You can compete with someone. There's 2 of them. See who can hit the tire the most or whatever.
All right. If that doesn't sell you to come out here for your fall festivities, I'm not sure what will. And then, of course, I've got to talk about the food again because I've had everything.
Well, you haven't even had everything. You got to come back when we have everything. Right now,
all right.
You haven't even had pumpkin donuts.
I haven't had the pumpkin donuts, and that's what I heard is like the real deal out here.
That is the real deal. We're the original pumpkin donut on Green Bluff. We started it all. They're the best pumpkin donuts. They go every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but during festival, they go all day Saturday and Sunday.
And you told me it's a whole situation. Like you only run one machine most of the time of the year, but for fall festival?
For fall festivals, 3 machines going all day long on Saturday and Sunday. A lot of people come out strictly just for pumpkin donuts. We have all this other stuff, like I just want my donuts. That's all I want.
All right. And then really quick, how can people get their reservations just to make sure things are smooth?
Yeah, you want to go to BecksHarvestHouse.com.
Okay.
Right when you get on the website, there's a link right there. You can reserve your on-site parking to make sure that you have a spot to park when you get here, because it can be very busy. And then you can also pre-buy your tickets to the Friendly Family Farm Funland to make just make it a little easier when you get here.
Yes, sir. Todd Beck with Beck's Harvest House. We appreciate you,
Thank
and
you very much
we'll
for
toss
that.
it back to you all in the studio.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus for a look at some of the biggest news stories of the past week. For the most current news throughout the weekend, you can watch our latest newscast here on KREM 2 Plus. Just look for it at the bottom of the navigation menu. I'm Tim Pham. Thanks for watching.